As you could probably tell, I'm Gen Z. And the thing with Gen Z is that, we're on technology a lot, we spend a shit ton of time on technology, whether that's social media, Pinterest, Like, what are we even doing on Pinterest, dude? We're watching movies, we're doing all that stuff, we're just online. But the difference is that we've been online since a very young age. Now look, these millennials, they're online as well. They didn't grow up with this technology. They didn't grow up with iPhones. They didn't grow up with video games, like proper video games, not fucking Pac-Man and shit. They didn't grow up with these advancements in technology, but we have. And that's pretty bad, because from a very young age, for example, for me, from a very young age, I've been hooked on technology. I was an iPad kid, I was always on my iPad, playing cooking simulators, playing driving simulators, playing sex, and I was mainly watching YouTube as well. But here's the thing, we didn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know any better, right? I didn't know any better, because you're so young, and you have this device that gives you endless stimulation, endless stimulation. It's easy to just pick it up and just be like, yeah, this is entertaining, cool. And that's exactly what I did. The years and years and years and years I've spent doing this behavior, being chronically online, it has a long-lasting impact. Obviously. And for me, watching YouTube is my kryptonite, because I watch YouTube all the time. Like every day I watch YouTube. If I'm out the whole day, or if I'm doing this or doing that, it doesn't matter. I'm always on YouTube. And it's because I've been on YouTube for so damn long. For so long. That it's like a habit. It's like brushing my teeth. Matter of fact, I used to watch YouTube while brushing my teeth in the morning.
What the hell?
Like, that's how addicted I was. You know what I'm saying? Watching YouTube today is a habit. It's something I do every day without even really thinking about it. Sometimes I think about it, but most of the time my brain goes, YouTube, open laptop, type up YouTube, press play on the video. That's what happens in my brain. It's like breathing for me. It's like involuntary action. How do you fix the habit? How do you fix these habits? For me, it's with watching YouTube. For you, it might be different. But how do you fix these habits? You replace them. So for me, ironically, I watched YouTube videos on different books to read. So I have 5 books I want to read. You know what I'm saying? I have 5 books I want to read. But here's the thing, I haven't been reading them because I've been watching YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, instead of watching YouTube every morning, I'd get up and then I'd read a book. I'd replace that habit, because you can't just forgo habits. You can't just get rid of them completely. You need to replace them. By me replacing my habit of watching YouTube with reading a book, although, there's still a form of stimulation. It's not as stimulating. YouTube is, a lot more stimulating. It's videos, colors, audio, all that. But here's the thing, I like reading. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't like reading. I actually like reading a lot. It's just YouTube is so much more appealing to me than reading, because reading, you have to be focused. You have to, you're looking at a page. You have to actually, you need to know what you're doing. You can't mindlessly read a book. You have to actually focus. While with YouTube, you can just mindlessly watch that for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So number 1, you gotta fix your habits. You might as well. We only live once. You only live one life. Average lifespan is 80 years or something. I'm not too sure. It's 75, 80 years. I think it's 78 years. But time is limited. I'm Gen Z. I'm young. I'm unemployed. I don't got nothing going on for me, right? except this channel, I guess, right? But what I'm trying to say is that I have so much time. It's not even funny. I spend so much time on YouTube and it's actually just YouTube. Not even movies. It's just YouTube. It's actually just YouTube. I spend so much time on YouTube, and if I just spend that time somewhere else, literally anything, just reading or learning a new skill, playing the piano, even just going for walks and stuff, it would be so much more beneficial for me. 100%. Out of all the YouTube videos I've watched, I've learned absolutely nothing, actually nothing. There are some small bits I've learned, but other than that, I've learned actually just nothing. I've learned nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've learned nothing from it. Whereas if I read a book, because when you're reading a book, they're only talking about certain concepts. Where if I watch 2 hours, if I'm spending 2 hours reading a book, those 2 hours might just be on one concept. I'm talking about non-fiction. It might just be about one concept. For example, Atomic Habits by James Clear. If I'm reading that book, he might, if I'm reading it for 2 hours, he might only talk about 3 different concepts in 6 chapters or whatever. I don't even know. I'm just making this stuff up. But if I go on YouTube for 2 hours, I can watch I can go from watching science to comedy to pranks to all this stuff. It's because you have access to it. Whereas if I'm reading a book, I can only stick with the concepts in the book. You know what I mean? So that means me reading a book is probably more valuable than me watching like 1,000 YouTube videos. 100%. I reckon. Because when you're watching YouTube videos, you're not retaining the information. Whereas when you're reading a book, you actually do retain the information because you're reading it. You're not listening to it, you're reading it, and that's the main difference. The main thing I want to do is that I want to switch my activities from entertaining to fulfilling. So what do I mean by that? Instead of me watching YouTube, instead of me watching movies, which are entertaining, I want to do something fulfilling. So for example, for me, that might be making music. For you, it might be making art, you know what I'm saying? Or just trying new things, you know? I have a passion for music, right? But the thing is, I spend like 4 times the amount of time I spent making music watching YouTube. I find music more fulfilling than watching YouTube, yet I watch YouTube like 10 times as much. It's really, really weird. For example, for you, it might be like scrolling on TikTok. You might scroll on TikTok like 8 hours a day or something crazy. And that's entertaining. It keeps you entertained, but is it fulfilling? Now, what I mean by fulfilling, like sometimes when I'm making music and I have to stop because I have to leave or I have to go to bed or something, I genuinely get mad because I'm like, I want to continue doing this. I don't want to stop. That's fulfilling. That's when you know something's fulfilling. That's when you know you found something you really love to do. Whereas watching YouTube, yeah, I don't want to watch YouTube, but again, it's entertaining. It's not fulfilling. And I just wanted to get that idea across. The main thing is being in control. Because when you're watching YouTube videos, there's a clear distinction between the parties involved. So you have the author of the video, you have the person that made the video. They've crafted it because they want other people to watch it. And as the viewer, you are just watching the video, sorry. And that's pretty much it. You're watching the video, you're observing it, you're taking in information, and then that's about it. It stops from there. Whereas if you're doing something fulfilling, like creating art, making music, writing in a journal, you're actually like producing something. You're being creative, right? And that's something I've lacked, and that might be something that you've lacked as well. Humans, when we create different things, I feel like that's when we're most like ourselves, or that's when we can express ourselves the most, when we're creative. Simply watching YouTube videos is not going to do that. Creating art, making music, writing in a journal, I keep using those examples because I can't really think of anything else, but you get what I mean. Doing things where you are creating something, where you are producing something, that's fulfilling. You feel more engaged in that activity and you feel more emotionally attached to it, or you just feel fuller. You know what I'm saying? You just feel fuller when you're actually creating something as opposed to just watching a video as purely just for entertainment. You'll regret it. You've probably asked yourself the classic what ifs. What if I learned piano when I was younger? What if I took that risk? What if I did do that speech that I had the opportunity to do? What if I did ask out that You get what I mean? Like right now, I have all the freedom in the world. It's the holidays right now. It's holiday season where I am right now. So that means I have all the time in the world. Again, I don't got no job. I don't got no responsibilities, I guess. No major ones at least. So I have a lot of time. Like a lot of time. And I'll tell you what I did today. I'll tell you exactly what I did. Woke up, brushed my teeth, watch YouTube. I watched YouTube pretty much the whole day. I did do some chores, did the vacuuming, etc. Other than that, I did nothing. I just watched YouTube, and that was it. YouTube is entertaining, but it's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling at all. It's not going to get me anywhere. I won't go to sleep at night thinking, yeah, I did what I could today. I did everything I could. No, I didn't. And you hear it all the time. I don't know if you've heard it on social media, but there's this thing of like, where they do the interviews where they're like, okay, we're gonna ask old people things they regret doing, or we're gonna ask elderly people things they wish they did earlier and all that stuff. And one of the main recurring things is, well, they also talk about, not being afraid. Stop worrying. Stop worrying about things that might not happen. That's one of the main themes. But also it's, not taking the risk. It's not taking that risk. It's not just having to go. They wish they just took that risk. They wish they just tried. They wish they just had to go. They wish they just put all their effort in what they love to do. Because look, today's economy, the way the world is going, if you go the classic route, which I'm not saying is wrong, but you know, the classic route is go to uni, get a degree, get a job, work the job, and that's about it. On the weekend, you can hang out with your friends, you go places, you know, you might go on a holiday to Japan, you might go, you know. But the reality of it is that you're going to be working for a very long time. A very, very long time. Majority of your time. Pretty much a third of your time. You know, you sleep for a third, you probably work for a third, and your third is like free time, I guess. So why not just pursue your passions? So why not just take that risk? Got time, you know, you're not doing anything, you know, you're just on TikTok, you're on YouTube, you're not doing anything. So why not just take the risk, mother? You know what I'm saying? You might as well. You know, you got nothing to lose. What are you gonna lose? Like, for example, I'm making this video. The people I know from school, they might watch this, but who cares? My parents might watch this. Who cares? My sister might watch this. Who cares? At least I did it. At least I did it. I had an idea to make this video. I wrote down notes and I'm making this video. At least I did it. I can sleep at night. I can sleep at night fine. Yes, I did watch YouTube for the rest of the day, and yeah, I know, you know. But at least I made this video. You know what I'm saying? At least I made this video. I took a step in the right direction, and that's something I could be proud of. I'm fulfilled. Time is the only thing that is constant. So my advice is just get at it. Just start before you're ready. There's a book called Do the Work by Steven Pressfield, and one of the main things he says is start before you're ready. For example, you've probably heard of this book. It was a very famous book, 1984 by George Orwell. When George Orwell made this book, 1984, he did it in 1948. When he made this book, he didn't do the classic like, oh yeah, we're gonna start out, then we're gonna have the climax, then we're gonna fit, you know. He didn't do it like that and then just call it a day. He could have started at the plot. He could have wrote the plot of the story first, then go back to the start, and then he could have went from there to the end, you know, to work on the end, and then he came back, and then he was known to be sporadic and to be very non-binary when it came to non-binary. And it oh, I don't know why that's funny. I'm sorry. But he was very sporadic. He was very unordered. He just started writing. That's okay. The main thing. Okay, so basically, what George Orwell did is that he didn't structure out his story just like, okay, we're gonna you know, start, middle, end. He didn't do it like that. He may have started writing the story from the plot. You know what I'm saying? From the plot, and then maybe he went back and then wrote some of the, you know, the introduction, the exposition, the start of the story, and then maybe he went all the way forward to the end, and then he started writing, you know, the end of the story, and then he went back to the start, and then back to, and then to the middle, and then to the start, and then to the end, and then to the middle. You know, he kept going around. The main thing he did is that he started. You know, the first thing you do doesn't have to be great. The first piece of music you create doesn't have to be amazing. The first artwork you draw doesn't have to be great. It's just a matter of starting, because that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't start. Just start and learn as you go. You don't have to be perfect. Don't make a plan. Start before you're ready. And he also says, don't think, just act. Actually, I'm going to read out this excerpt from the book, so I'll be back. Right, here we go. I got it on my laptop. The three dumbest guys I can think of: Charles Lindbergh, Steve Jobs, Winston Churchill. Why? Because any smart person who understood how impossibly arduous were the tasks they had set themselves would have pulled the plug before he even began. Ignorance and arrogance are the artists and entrepreneurs' indispensable allies. She must be clueless enough to have no idea how difficult her enterprise is going to be, and cocky enough to believe she can pull it off anyway. How do we achieve this state of mind? By staying stupid. By not allowing ourselves to think. And when I first read this, it was very powerful. Very powerful. Because it makes sense, yes. You look at Elon Musk, you look at Steve Jobs, Winston Churchill, and you think, man, how the hell did these guys do what they did? How in the hell did they do that? It seems like what they did is impossible. But it's not. But it's not. If they did it, anyone can do it. And again, what the human brain does, and I feel like especially nowadays, what the human brain does is we think rationally. We think very rationally. We don't want to take risks. We want to stay in the convention. No one wants to break the rules. No one wants to step outside of the comfort zone. Everyone wants to just live happily ever after in the cozy little home, and step outside. Step outside. Be uncomfortable. Sounding like David Goggins now. You gotta run 10 kilometers every day. You gotta get up, go for a jog 5 a.m. in the morning. I ain't gonna say that, but take the risk. Be uncomfortable. Start the YouTube channel. Start it right now and just post a video. You know, look, I got the green screen, I got the mic, I got the fancy shit, I got, you know, whatever. But you don't have to, you don't need all this equipment. You don't need it. This is just additional stuff. Yes, it does help with the video, but it doesn't matter. Alright, I'm gonna end the video here. A lot of waffle, a lot of chit chatter. You know what I'm saying? But my piece of advice is just start whatever it is. Start before you're ready. As Stephen Pressfield said, stay stupid and start before you're ready. Don't think, act. It's been your boy Nathan. That's about it. And let's get at it, man. I'll see you on the other side.